Uh, We have like 1 second of our faces before the timer started.
I know. I was like,
I clicked over to make sure like the tab I have in where the stream's open, and I see myself go. Oh my god! It's fine.
I don't know what happened. It just didn't do the timer first.
It's done that a couple of times for me as well. Where it's just like, here's your face. I'm like, no one wants that.
All right. Well, welcome to the Weekend Relay. This is the second stream, technically. And yeah, here's the link for the playlist if you haven't already gone to check. We have the bingo board generator. And we have my co-hosts. We have their links. SD. And Somberhoney. And CB.
Waiting for it.
Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I can go first since I'm in the hot seat. My name is Mars. I publish under the name MG Ellison. I am the author of 3 new adult dark academia mystery novels that I didn't think to get down off of my shelf to actually show off. So they're right up there. You can kind of see one of them anyway from a distance. I published the most recent one back in October, I think. So if you're looking for something with fall vibes, I know it's not fall time, but people really love that anyway. Might be something you want to check out. I have a YouTube channel, Somberhoney Books. Post about reading, writing, and other shenanigans, and I stream on Sundays. I haven't done an intro in so long. I feel so rusty.
You just go, you know who I am, and then move on.
Yeah, Shannon, take it away.
Hi, I'm Shannon. I write under the pen name of ST Huston, have a YouTube channel under the name of ST Huston, where I do weekly writing sprints from Monday through Thursday. I'm also 1/3 of the Self-Publishing Tips and Tricks podcast with Ben Pick from Writing to Write YouTube channel and Jamie from JM Shelley YouTube channel. I'm also the founder and conference chair of the AuthorTube Writing Conference. We just finished going through all our applications. In the next 2 weeks, we'll be sending out our acceptances for those who applied to speak at the conference. And that is June 27th through the 29th of this year. And then I'm also running a Kickstarter starting on Tuesday. That's what I'm working on perfecting my graphics tonight. But my Kickstarter kicks off on Tuesday. It will be a live stream on my channel where I'm bringing on a couple of best-selling authors who co-wrote in the same world, which was I think it's really cool to kind of co-write in the same world. They actually wrote brothers. They were each a brother from this family. And it's post-apocalyptic suspense, a little bit of romance, that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to ask how they co-wrote in the same world. And then they're still in the process of running their own Kickstarter. They've already fully funded, and they'll be ending like a couple days after mine starts. So I'm looking forward to that. If you go to my link tree, it is the first one in the link tree, A Curse of Wings and Gems. That's the next one in my series. If you can't support, and this is not just for me, this is any creator you may like on Kickstarter. If you can't support someone as far as, like you can't back them or whatever, go follow them anyways, because that will help in the algorithm when they launch. It kicks up their Kickstarter in the algorithm, which is like more than enough help to help out people on there. So,
CB. I am CB Ferrenz. I'm a queer fantasy writer. I was on the last stream, but I'm on this one. I write novels, and then also I just graduated with a screenwriting degree. It's up there on the shelf. Ta-da! Look at me. It's just a piece of paper. I need to get a fancy little frame for it to make it a proper wall mounting. Be like a lawyer or doctor or something. Ignore the fine arts that it says on there. My channel, I host very regular writing sprints, productivity sprints, kind of live streams with Samantha and Sam, one of our event organizers. And then we also do twice a month book talks where Sam and I each choose a book we very much like and we talk about it and make the other one read it, which is the real purpose of it. So I can drag her, not actual kicking and screaming at all, but I like to say it because it makes it more dramatic, into all of my gay martial arts Chinese novels that I love very much. Me and her mom have the same taste. It's fantastic. And then I'll also be starting up a weekend live stream at some point. Yeah, and eventually I'll get to posting actual pre-recorded content again. But I like the thrill of the camera in my face and you all watching at once. No chance to edit.
Yeah. We have so many people in here now. This is cool. Okay.
Kat, do you want to introduce yourself?
Not particularly.
That's Kat. We'll move on.
I write mostly young adult fantasy. I am the author of about 20 books right now. I've only been self-publishing since 2021. So I've been really busy. I am an author with ADHD, so having multiple projects at one time, it helps me focus for a bit. So I don't usually do videos anymore with my face because I get shy or nervous. So 2 in 1 day is pretty good.
Yeah. Very proactive. I think that's the right word. Cool. What are you going to be working on today?
I am working on a Princess and the Frog retelling.
Mars, what are you working on?
I don't know. I have brainstorming that I could do for a project that I'm simply calling Whimsy, because it is a very silly, self-indulgent fantasy romance. And
Fun.
so I've got my notebook out because I like to do brainstorming by hand. But
Yeah.
also, I just started rereading Iron Widow, and so I might do that instead. Who knows?
That's fair. That's very fair. Shannon, you working on your Kickstarter? Nice.
Yeah, I'm just gonna work on the graphics.
Cool. I'm working on the outline of my gay dragon novel. And yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'm getting all my plot points roughly in line for this arc, and then I'll go in and decide from whose perspective it is. Luckily, I only have 2 perspectives. My previous novel had like 5 or 6 POV characters, and that was a lot. So having it 2 actually makes it feel somehow harder because I only have 2 options. So, yeah.
All right. So it's about 10 after. Do you want to start the first sprint?
Sure. How long do you guys want to sprint?
It's up to y'all. What do you think?
Half hour?
Yeah, I like
sounds
longer
good.
ones.
So do I, actually.
All right. That's a Christmas tree. That's Thanksgiving. That's also a Christmas tree. We're going back up to snow, which is also not, well, it might be accurate for you guys.
It didn't snow here yesterday, so.
All right, that works then.
Heather
Set
also says 30 minutes.
share screen. I'm so good at clicking buttons, guys. All right. I think you have to add my my little share screen button.
I don't know if I can do that.
Just if you can click, just like you let the rest of us into the room, if you just click on letting it into the room. I wish I had snow, but I live in Los Angeles, and I think I'm in withdrawal about it. Because I love snow so much, guys. And that's not an option here. There we go.
I could send you our snow. I am not a cold person.
I'll take it. I don't think Los Angeles has the infrastructure for it, but I'll still take it anyways. All right. Do you want to start? In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back.
Ah.
That went by so fast.
Good.
I'm glad you think that.
So how'd y'all do?
I spent the entire time trying to name my character because I, in my infinite wisdom, decided to give my character 3 different names. So now I have to actually come up with 3 different names for her.
Like code names or like titles and stuff?
So this is a fantasy world, and my main character is Faye, but she's a changeling. So she has the name that the Fae gave her, but then she also has the name that the humans gave her, and then she has a name that she chose for herself when she wanted to distance herself from all that.
Oh, wow.
That would be multiple names there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do this to myself. I'm so bad at naming characters when they have one name.
I'm so bad at naming characters as well. I hate it. I don't hate. I'm just no. It is an every time. I got some outlining done. I don't have like a word count or anything to reference. Well, I do have a word count, but my outline's 7,203 words right now. I don't know what that means in the long run, but
it just means you got it a little bit further.
So I'm still sorting everything out and plotting things into place and coming up with new ideas. So
yeah.
What about you, Laura? Sorry, Shannon.
Made progress on my graphics.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way they're turning out. So I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I'm like, I keep changing it just slightly. I'm like, okay, I think this is it. It's looking good now. So.
Nice.
I got 261 words.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
What part of the story are you at right now, Kat?
I'm still in fun and games.
And what?
In the fun and games where he has to learn to trust him and he has to learn not to be a douche.
Oh, okay. It's exhausting sitting at a desk all day.
No, but it really is sometimes.
No, it's so dramatic, but I'm just like, oh, wow, okay. It's like not even 5 o'clock yet my time, and I'm like, oh, I gotta return to bed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, people are getting a lot done.
Yeah. It's good. I won't be able to attend like the first sprints tomorrow because it's like early, and I already don't do early, and then it's 3 hours earlier for me. But so I'm trying to get as much done on the sprints I actually am attending.
That's fair.
I have a question for y'all.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna keep train of thoughting it until someone came up with something else to say.
Okay, when you have a character that is being stubborn and doesn't want to do what you say, do you A, follow what they want, or B, tell them this is how it's going to go?
Typically if I'm taking the phrasing as a character doesn't want to do it, as in like that wouldn't fit with what their character, like the characterization that you've set up for the character would do. Which either means that you need to change the characterization of the character or change what's happening, because even if you make the character do it, you need to give a good reason why that bridge between what the characterization said they would do and what you need them to do. You need to have a connection there. I was just like, I outlined a scene and I was where I have a character step out of the way of thieves. And so the whole scene plays out and I'm like, he wouldn't step out of the way. Like that just doesn't fit his character. So I had to redo the scene. And if that's what you mean, then I think you just need to make the something has to give, and you shouldn't like force it without a good reason. Make it so it's not a forcing, but it's just like, oh, that's a new and interesting aspect to that character. You just have to make it believable is the big thing there.
I'm a discovery writer, so I do think about things in my head for a long time, and then I start writing scenes. I'm like, okay, I know how this one's going to end. I just had a scene like this that I have some readers reading. I was like, I knew that this scene was going to end like this, but he changed my mind, and I actually like it better. So, you know.
Yeah. I plot very heavily before I start drafting, but I don't really know my characters at that point. So there's every chance when I start writing that my characters are completely different from how I thought they were going to turn out, and then I kind of just get to follow along and see what they think should happen, and I abandon my outlines more often than not. But I do still outline everything, because if I don't have an outline, then I can't start.
And see, having an outline for me like takes all the fun out of writing. I tried starting off my writing career that way, and I was like, I'm so bored. I hate this. I ended up chucking it after my second book.
I feel like a lot of people are like that, where they're like, well, I've already told the story in the outline, so why would I write it? But I'm the opposite. I do my outline, and it just gets me more excited to see it like more fleshed out in an actual draft.
And so that feels like revising to me, and I hate revising. I like the drafting and learning the story the first time.
I like an outline because that's where you plan the story, and then when you're writing it, that's when you get to tell the story.
I do a lot of planning in my head. So like I'm not an outliner, but there's a lot, and I can see words in my head. So I write first lines to chapters. I know a lot already what's in there, but I just think about it for a long time.
I have a really bad memory, so I have to write everything down.
I do, except for my stories.
Yeah, and the way for when I'm writing, it's like a movie in my head, not like words. And then I take the movie and translate it into words. So I have to plan the movie first before I can watch it and tell it.
Yeah, I would say, like, when I wrote A Curse of Scales and Feathers, there's a scene where there's the protagonist and the antagonist are fighting off with magic. And I dreamt that I had just finished writing that scene, that I dreamt that I was the protagonist fighting her, and I lost, and I stopped, and I rewrote the scene right there in my, like, on the actual image, and then fought her again and lost again, and then rewrote it again there on the image, and then played it again, and I kept losing, and I said, that's a bad dream.
It's really funny though.
Yeah, I have like shots set up and stuff, which when I'm writing like a script or something, I'm like, oh, this makes it a little easier, even though screenwriters don't have control over what the individual shots are, but you can kind of control it with the way you write. But yeah, no, when I first started writing, I didn't use an outline or anything. And granted, I was 11 or 10 or whatever, but it kind of went off the rails. Like, I wasn't sure where I was going. And then by the time I got to a point where the story like was planned out, or like I was gathering depth, I didn't set up the infrastructure needed to give that depth to the story. So that's why I like outlining it, because I can do all the stressing, the hard part, and before I actually get to sit down and write.
I've been writing since I was like same age. Like I think I was 9 when I wrote my first book, and I would always do my outlines after I finished my books, because I thought you were supposed to do an outline. So, and I should have known then that outlining just was not for me. And of course, I still actually do that now, because it's called reverse outlining. So it's a way of looking holistically at your story if you don't outline to start with.
Yes. I think it's just a difference in approach where, like, with doing an outline, you'll most likely, from what I've heard, do less revisions, like less big story structure revisions, versus from what I've seen, you guys seem like you're shaking your heads, but I'm going to finish the thought. When you like pants it or don't outline, then when you end up going back in, you have to do more structural changes.
I get rid of my drafts. I start over. So,
yeah.
So like
I would cry blood if I had to do that.
So my first draft of A Curse of Scales and Feathers was 23,000 words. And I thought, okay, that's where the point where I'm changing something, threw it out, started again. I think my next one was around 50,000. It ended up being 141,000 in the end. So then I have what I call my drafts, and then I have my editing drafts, or my revision drafts, and my editing drafts.
Okay. I respect that you can do that, and I will never.
But then I also
'cause
write
wouldn't
that
be able to
really
remember what I
fast.
wrote. I wouldn't be able to remember it all. Like,
But
if
I write it really, really fast. Like that 23,000 I wrote in 2 days.
Okay.
I wrote
Yeah.
of my next book, I wrote 54,000 in 8 days. So,
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
but going back and doing the revising, yes, it's like I know where I need to go and add more chapters and flesh out characters and flesh out scenes because I write everything really fast and I put in like cliche like things happening. Like, okay, I need a better thing happening here, but this a cliche moment is going to stay for the my placeholder. So that I think that's probably if I outlined, I might know those things ahead of time versus have to go back and fill it in later. But
yeah, I know some people. Go ahead, Kat.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I know some people do like insert dialogue and like some scene descriptions and stuff in their outline. I don't go that in depth. Like every once in a while, I'd be like, oh, I'll have like a fun exchange in my head where I'll be like, oh, like literally during that sprint, I was like, Winifred makes her crack about how it's spatial magic, and as long as he doesn't like do any explosions, it'll be fine. And he goes like, what happens if I do any explosion? She goes splat, and she's fucking with him. And that won't actually happen. So I basically wrote down what I just said, where it's that's as in depth in dialogue as I ever get.
Do you ever do like character descriptions or like so you do an outline? Do you do separate character sheets or something like that for your characters?
Not really. The characters are more I keep in my head and stuff. Gotcha. Every once in a while, I'll wrote down notes, just partly because I'm horrible at names, but the character arcs and stuff, that was with when you're screenwriting and you want to sell something, you have to make a story Bible, like a show Bible. And in that you have to put a page-long character descriptions and stuff. Sitting down and doing that was awful. I was like, oh, so that is that's definitely the characters or something that comes much easier for me, but I don't plan that out because the character's personality forms as I work on the outline, and then I go back and make sure throughout the outline, this rough outline, I guess, would be concerned versus a very in-depth, I don't plan every single scene in there. If there's a character, this scene starts off with the characters chatting about something and then it transitions into a story beat. I don't include the dialogue beats or anything like that within the outline. But so I'm if as I'm writing and as my story evolves, it's different the outline, I let it evolve, or I'll be like, okay, that's different. Let me pause, look at the outline, figure out why that changed, and go and edit the outline to match what I'm writing. So that it matches.
That makes me so irritated to do that. I'm like, why am I spending my time on this outline and changing it? Let me just write this story.
Well, I have to go back, and when I I don't know if I had hit that beat before, I can go back and look at the outline and be like, oh, I hit it right there, so I don't need to do that again, rather than going back and looking through the entire book. Or if I'm unsure, oh, does this character actually need to exist? I can go back and look what do they actually do, and then reference the outline for that.
I'm constantly
more of a guide than a end all be all. You can go ahead now, Kat. I'm done. I'm done with
I was gonna say, I'm always changing my outline as I go.
Yeah.
Because if I write a scene and it doesn't work, I will toss the scene out and start over. But sometimes my second version of that scene turns out better than the first. So I have to change my outline. And then sometimes I'll go off rail from my outline, completely. And I'm like, wait a second. Does that fit in with my story? And if it does, then I'll change my outline.
Yeah, I both documents I always keep open, and it's a very fluid process. It becomes less fluid for screenwriting, like we talked about earlier, Kat, because you have to hit certain beats in a page limit, and there's such restrictions on it. And even this is more out there, but when you're selling a project or something, you need a beat sheet, and that's what they'll look at first to see if the story's any good, no matter what your actual writing is. And so I'll also have my beat sheet open if I'm doing screenwriting and adjust it to match. But I'm definitely more strict when I do take when I do screenwriting versus novel writing. Novel writing is much more fluid for me.
What do you guys do your story Bible in? Like what am I trying to say? Like system or so you write yours down in a book.
Yeah, this is I think this is a notebook I started in September, and it's the third one that I've started using since I've transferred to just writing things out, because I feel like in the early stages, writing things by hand helps me get them out of my head in a way that works better than typing. And I think I've got like 4 different stories in here, and like I go back in things. So like this page is for the book that I'm currently doing a second draft of, and then there's a couple of pages of a different story, and then there's more pages of that story, because like I go back and forth and I just write the name of whatever story I'm currently working on, so it's all of my stories in one. But I keep all of my information in here, and it's kind of a mess to flip through when I have to find something, but for me, finding stuff on paper is so much easier than finding stuff in a document.
I live for Control F. So I'll write it all by hand at first, and then I'll transfer it into a document to like organize it more. Like this is totally on the paper. When I'm writing it out, it's flow of thought, stream of consciousness. And then when I get it onto like a Word document or a Google Doc, that's I'll structure it. And then I like really utilize comments on the doc, and also like bullet points and indenting to another bullet point. But yeah, no, I do enjoy first feelings on
the book, the paper
by hand.
I kind of do the same thing, and I started like with you, like Mars. I put it in a book, and it was like getting all over the place. So I started putting tabs in there so I could keep track of everything and just handwrite in what my table contents was. But my world is getting so expansive now that I've moved to Obsidian, which is like a wiki, but you can it's on your computer. So,
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Recently, someone was talking about it on a stream this week, I think. I can't remember who it was, but I heard about that recently.
Yeah, it was actually developed for students to like take notes and be able to pull, because you can link pages, like just like in a Wikipedia, you can link stuff. And it was made for students to take notes so they could link things to like papers that they're trying to write from their sources and stuff like that.
Is it a paid program?
No, well, I mean, it has paid options, but I don't pay for anything.
Nice.
So it's so you can some of the paid stuff is like backing it up to like their system, but there's actually a workaround where I just made my own Google account, and so I use that Google Drive as my backup, and you can connect it that way. And that way too, I can just log into Obsidian from any computer, and I can access the information and add to it.
I don't write a Bible for everything. Like I have on my outline, I'll put like for the project I'm working on right now, I don't have any Bible type thing. When I'm working on my outline and I introduce a new concept, I just explain the concept like in a little aside there. And I'll like in my notes that I'm writing down, I'll like stream of consciousness write down the idea, but I don't have like a separate like this is the world, let me lay out how the world works or anything like that, which has led to some like critique partners being like, I don't know what's going on because I'm reading an outline and you did set up your world. But I don't want to like make it seem like you have to have a Bible, especially if you're writing something that isn't like you're writing contemporary or even historical or just something. It's a organization tool, not a thing you have to do. Just
I had to start doing mine, but mine's fantasy, so
yeah. No, I feel like the more expansive the world, it's definitely useful to make a Bible. But,
so when you said you turn in like a character sheet, was almost like a character Bible when you turn that in for your script writing. Is there anything else you have to do that with? I'm just curious because I don't know much about the script writing side.
So a Bible right now I'm shopping around my thesis script. It's called Atreus. And it's a time travel queer fantasy romance. Heavily inspired by BBC's Merlin. So when you're shopping around a script, you can send in different materials. And so what I've been sending in, what the company I interned in for, which is a production company, they're behind Sweet Magnolias on Netflix. So not really at all in the same genre, but whatever. So I sent in my pilot and then also the Bible. And so in the Bible, you have your premise, and like your log line. So your log line is 1 or 2 sentences. It can be a little bit longer for TV shows and stuff. And then you have your premise, which is like a paragraph or 2 extended log line. What is the show about? What is the concept that we're doing here? And then you have your world, which is an extra thing I added in because it's fantasy. So I explained like the magic systems, the gods. Like I had an aside to explain the concept of the goddess of fate because she's very relevant. And then I had my main 2 characters each had a page, and then my like side cast, bigger characters had like half a page, smaller characters had like a page or 2. So I had like 3 pages of side characters. And then I had, I'm trying to remember, because mine is time travel, I have the original timeline, like what happened before our show began. And then I have, oh, it was right there. Oh, the romance, between the 2 characters, because that's a driving force. So I have the relationship between our 2 main characters and like how that arc will go over seasons. And then you enter into the episodes. For every single episode in the first season, we put a log line, and that was like 1 or 2 sentences. That was a shorter log line. And then for bigger episodes that are like turning points in the season, you put a little bit of an extended log line. And then you write your character arc for season 2. Yeah, I could totally share my story Bible. So much easier. 1 second.
It sounds very intensive.
It is, and it was so much fun to make. All right, upload file. Let's see, Atreus Bible right there. Oh, the file's too big. Okay, I'll just finish explaining then. So then I did like my arc of season 2, and I put like half a page of describing what season 2 would be about, and then I have further seasons in there. And so the point of this document is for people who don't want to sit down and read a pilot to be able to look at and go, what is this show about? What's the marketing potential? What are the comps or the comparisons? Like what are we actually getting into? Like you have a pilot, but a pilot's only going to tell 1 episode, and the Bible is going to tell you the whole season and further. To be like, what is the future of this show? Like, are we willing to invest in it before we even sit down and talk to the writer? So that's what a Bible is in my head.
When you turn that in, is it like, is it different for whichever place you're turning it into, or is it like Word documents or like?
Oh, it's you want to make it look nice. Some people like you can search online like the Grey's Anatomy Bible or like the
yeah, I've seen some of those
like that.
Yeah,
where you want it. You can either do a very like plain Word document, or you add some sort of character to it that captures the idea of the world. I do have it on Canva. That's a good point, Sam. So mine, I like put in some pretty graphic design and everything, and I'm going to click the button to.
Oh, that's cool. Do you guys do like graphics too? Like, do you find pictures of like your characters or places and stuff like that?
I do Pinterest boards for everything because I'm a very visual person, and I like having it just open next to me while I'm writing so that like if I'm having trouble like describing a setting or something, I can find a picture to help me along. So
this is my Bible. I don't know how to click the present button.
I have trouble with clothes, so I have to like have picture of clothes to help me.
That's so fair. So I have my like pretty background ruins. The premise, the like log line up here, and then
it gets you like in the mood for what this is about.
Exactly. I have my world. I have a little like, outline silhouette of a world, which is just a bunch of continent silhouettes matched together because I didn't want to pay for Canva Premium. I have my main character. It's time travel, so I have him as an adult, or Thomas Brady, or whatever, ta-da, as an adult, and then him younger, describing his whole character arc and everything. I have my secondary lead, where laying out his backstory, his motivations, and like a little bit alluding to the arc that he's going to go throughout the at least first arc of the series. We have some of our supporting cast, and then we have like smaller supporting cast, but they're in the category. This is like the band of mercenaries. And it hopefully just like gives like, this is a mom. This is like a supporting character. This is a minor villain. This is our major villain of like season 2. So when I would pitch season 2, like he'd have more of a like write up, my original timeline and fate. And I tried to structure it as you read through it. The story is like revealing itself to you. So like I needed to introduce the characters before I explain their original timeline, so we know who.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
There's a Merlin edit of Merlin and Arthur kissing, which I found online. I thought was hilarious, and my teacher was like, "This is a great reference image," and I was like, "Thank you." So explaining their relationship arc, and you can see here, I go, as the war rages in season 2, Cadigan will try and show Eris that he holds his heart. So I'm alluding to what's going to happen in further. And then this is my episode guide. You see I have a bunch of information here for the pilot, even though the pilot will be included. When I send this, episodes 5 and episode 8 are really big. And then 9, 10, and episode 11 being our conclusion is the biggest. And then season 2 and as the story continues. So that's my...
Nice.
I just whipped that up in like a couple days. Because it was due for class.
It's pretty cool.
So that is, I like how people are recognizing the Merlin photo. But yeah, that's my Bible. So when I think of a Bible, I think of that. But I don't have that for my like book or anything, because that's a marketing document. Typically, when a TV show like that is being made, you'll have a binder, or an online binder, which will act. Oh yeah, I stressed all of that. Oh my god,
on you.
Stressed. It was not like, oh, I whipped this up because I had to whip it up, but the whipping was like this. So when you're like doing a longer show like Supernatural, if you want to go back and yeah, I did this once I was finished the pilot though. Once I wanted to go back and reference things, or when they're making a show, if Dean said, I'm referencing Supernatural, if Dean says like, oh, I remember that when we were kids, you can go back and be like, did they talk about this when they were kids? Did we have this reference before? And so a show Bible is a very important document. But there's like the marketing version of a Bible, and then there's the like reference version of a Bible.
I think this could also be good, like if you're at a point where you're not sure what else you're going to do with your story, or if you're like, I don't know if you believe in writer's block, this would be like a good project to do to get yourself back in the mood, I think, of your story. Yeah.
Every time I look at my Bible, I get excited about the project, which is both great and counterproductive, because it's no reason for me to write more of the project, because as it's being marketed around, they don't want the writer to show up with drafts of the whole first season, because that's probably going to be a writer that's difficult to work with, because they have this whole thing set in stone. But you need to be able to adjust your story and adapt to what executives and people want you to tell. So Atreus is sitting on a shelf. It's actually on a giant poster board underneath my bed right now, and sometimes I take it out and go, but someday I'll sell it.
So before we started the stream, we were talking about our book sales and stuff like that. And Mars, you said that you have a Pinterest. Does it sell books? Do you know if it gets anyone interested?
I don't publicize it at all. First of all, it has my legal name on it, and I don't really advertise that on the internet anymore as much as I can. But also it's more just for me. I don't really post about my actual story on there. It's just grabbing other people's images and mushing them all together in a way that makes sense to me.
I've heard Pinterest is a good way to find readers, but I've never tried it.
I didn't even know that was
seems like too much to get into because it's such like a massive thing. I don't know if it's for me.
All right.
I definitely need to start using social medias more, but my Pinterest is between me and before I actually just made the move to Tumblr.
I do stuff on Tumblr. I've definitely... Tumblr did more for me in a month than like my first year of doing stuff on Instagram. So
wow. Yeah, no,
my finding readers and stuff.
I've made a lot of writer friends who have like pushed my books with their own. Like it's very much a community thing over there where people people post their own stuff, but it's more people posting other people's works that they enjoy.
Yeah, the repost button is much bigger, or reblog or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm on there under Sneakily because that is my fandom space and no one needs to see my shit posts. I don't shit post anyway except Tumblr. I do need to get into like my social medias on all platforms posting content. But I talked about this the other day. I have no idea what to post other than just pictures of my cat. And being like, hey, look, it's Storm laying down in the sun on my bed. This is Storm in a slightly different position. You wouldn't know it, but it's a different day. And she's also laying down in the sun on my bed. Now she's in the cat tower. That would be my entire feed.
I'm not good at social media either. I have traded in kind with Devin Gambrell Clark. I don't know if you know her. She's the other chair on the AuthorTube Writing Conference. And she wants to be a social media manager. So I'm like her guinea pig, but I'm also going to be editing her next book. So she's doing my social media for my Kickstarter campaign. And she's going through some classes right now. So maybe that might be someone you can hook up with in the future.
Yeah. I had a roommate, my last roommate. She said she would help me do an overhaul of my author Instagram, but that was at the end of the semester and ended up just not happening. But she's out here in LA now, so I might reach out to her and be like, hey, please. Oh yeah, well,
Kat, are you wanting to get us into another sprint?
Sure.
I have it set up.
I'm over here just going.
If you guys hear my cat is currently trying to break down the door because she hates closed doors. So if you hear it rattling or her screaming, it's totally normal. She's fine. She's just dramatic.
I know, but I want to vlog more. I was gonna vlog this event, but it's really bad.
I'm not that mean.
Chloe is not allowed in the office while I'm streaming because she will throw things over the place. She likes to pull books off of shelves and chew on my microphone. So
I set up
a very good reason why the door is closed.
Yes, we're being yelled at by Sam to be nice to Kat. You can add in the stream. I have it set up. The sprint timer. There we go.
Alrighty.
We're gonna type right this time. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. So how did everyone do?
Well, my character now has 4 names, and I don't know how that happened. I also Googled if peas were a fruit, and I'm upset to say the answer is yes.
No.
So that's how my sprint went.
Oh, I hate that. Why'd you have to share that with the rest of us?
I couldn't keep that to myself. I'm sorry.
No, you gotta just. My outline's coming along really well. I'm like almost finished this arc, which is one of the big goals for Storytellers Hearth for me. So I'm ecstatic, actually. Yeah. So that went quite well indeed. Fun little. I added in. There's like a baby griffin character, and I needed the emotional beat because its mother's murdered by our male lead. He does it to protect his little brother, but it was his father's idea, and his father's a dick. Just in case anyone was wondering. If you read my stories, it seems like I hate dads. I have a great relationship with my father. You also read my stories, and every incompetent leader is a man. I stand by that. Anyways, off of the baby griffin, and I needed the emotional beat, but I didn't want a baby griffin side character like for the whole story, because he doesn't need to be there. But I still wanted the beat, so I moved the beat earlier and having it like the baby griffins dealt with in a way that keeps it alive and healthy and happy, just without a mother. But it's fine. So I fixed that, and that is something that I've been like, I have to deal with this for a while. So glad I dealt with that.
I continued working on graphics, so that I had to take a break because my kiddo's having some. Yeah.
Alaska.
Host is gone. Trying to throw
she'll be back. My kiddo's having some breathing problems right now, so he's on a breathing machine every 4 hours. So I had to get him set up on his next rotation. So.
How old's your kiddo?
He's about to turn 12. Yeah. I think it's the weather because we're here in Florida, and it was 26 degrees today, and we were warm yesterday, and I think it's just messing with him.
Yeah, my brother and my brother would always have to like use his stuff when it was especially like dry or cold out, especially when we were like not ready for it to be so. Yeah, but the cutesy pet companion gets to be there for one like story beat and then leaves because I can't handle that. That's not the kind. I need sexual tension, and I can't do that while the baby griffin's like 5 feet away.
That's fair. No, I get that.
Thanks. Baby griffin is too sentient for that to happen.
Hey.
Yes.
That was no.
I'm not killing the baby griffin, Sam. Yeah. That was her next. If you kill it, I'll stone you. I'm not killing the baby griffin. I'm just killing its entire family.
For some
and making
reason,
one of my characters wear its skin. But yay!
For some reason, my audio kept cutting out, and I had the one syllable or something repeated over and over and over.
Oh no!
Ugh.
That would be, yeah. How did you do that, Sprint?
I did all right. Got a couple hundred words in.
Nice. I was having like a pretty bad headache this entire stream so far. If I've been especially rambly, that is why. But it's laying off some. I think I like was jostling around my shoulders and clicked something into place to help. Because sitting at the table or desk for too long. I would blame it on my setup, but my setup's like really nice at this point, but I just keep sitting crisscross in the chair and being like, the little gremlin I am, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Unsuper.
Always continue outlining. You can just pause and outline or do whatever you want to do. I went downstairs and got myself some sparkly water mixed with sparkling water mixed with like grape juice to make a fancy drink, which is like a childhood classic of my brother's and I. So that's what I got in my cup. Need to add some stickers to this cup. It's very naked. I have so many stickers right now. No.
Yeah, I used up all of my stickers on my bullet journal for this year. And then my mom got me like 15 stickers for Christmas, and I'm like, great, now I've got a sticker stash again.
I would drink edible glitter water. I would drink glitter water. So beautiful. I got some Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation stickers for my birthday from Sam and Chris, I think, gave them to me. And so I have so many of them, and I haven't used any of them yet. And I'm looking around being like, that water bottle, and that water bottle, and that water bottle, and I have a lot of water bottles in my room. I should do dishes, but it's fine.
Don't look at me.
So yeah. What time is it for you guys? Like, what time zones are you in?
Almost 8.
It's almost 9 here because I'm
7.
So we're all over the place.
It's almost 6 for me. It's
For 6, 7,
dusk.
8, 9. We've got it all.
Hey. What what is your guys' least favorite genre to write? Like when you're either the one you dislike the most to write personally, or the one you like have the least experience writing?
I always swore that I would never write just straight up contemporary romance. And then last year, I got an idea for it.
Oh.
And I was just like, well, we could give it a shot. And I wrote like 60K of it, which was about 60% of the draft. It would be a massive contemporary romance. But
I remember you did a video about it.
Yeah, I've talked about it on like streams and stuff mostly, but I think I did a couple of videos too. But I got to not quite the break into 3, but like shortly before that, and I was like, I don't know how to write this anymore without like a big battle scene, so we're just gonna put this away for now.
That's fair. I don't read other than when I'm made to contemporary stuff. Really stuff without like magic, and that's a lie. I read webtoons, like webcomics that are like
The difference, Heather.
more contemporary, but that's when they're like they still have a random like reincarnation or something, time travel thrown in. Because but I have like no experience at all
I
writing.
think I could like write straight horror. Like I do write some darker fantasy that's borderlines horror. Like one of my short stories was considered kind of horror fantasy. But like straight horror, I don't think I could do.
We'll leave it to Laura.
She's great at it.
I think mine was I never thought I would ever do a psychological thriller. And my current pen name story is exactly that.
I like that. The answer to my questions. You're like, I thought I wouldn't, but actually I'm just better, and I did. That's a good.
I'm working on it.
Come back.
Genres are like Pokemon. You just gotta slowly collect them over the years.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
I've never played Pokemon. Actually, no, I played it on my DS when I was little. But my brother, like, my family never did the Pokemon cards. We did Magic cards a little bit. My older brother did.
I used to have, you know, those like giant goldfish boxes you can get at the store, like not even the family pack, like the huge ones. I used to have one of those boxes full to the brim with Pokemon cards. Don't ask why that was my storage system. I have no idea. But I had this giant box of Pokemon cards, and one day it just went missing. And no one in my family knows what happened to it.
Threw it away because it was in a goldfish box.
They knew what was in there.
Wouldn't it be heavy? And so it'd be like, oh, a goldfish box empty. Wait, no, it's definitely full because it's like
I don't know. My theory is that my brother took it because I have an older brother who's also into the same nerdy stuff as me, but he swears it wasn't him, and it's been 15 years, and I'm still thinking about those Pokemon cards. So
That's so fair.
I
Yeah,
used to collect them too.
I have an older brother, and I would definitely either steal stuff from him or he steal it from me. Equal opportunity theft. Yeah. I have all of our DS games in my closet at home, so he has easier access to them right now than I do. And I pulled them out, and he was like, "That's where all my DS games are." And I'm like, "Excuse me, these are mine? They're in my fancy little like box for them that only holds 9, but I have like so many." So I definitely sibling swapping, sharing is caring, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious what we get into when we have siblings, huh?
I was just like hit by the brain fog after the pain went away, so now I'm just gonna be here now.
Yeah, Sam, safekeeping for sure. I don't even think I had any that were like particularly worth anything. They were just the ones with the cutest Pokemon on it because that's all I ever cared about.
Yeah, that's so fair.
Ooh, Jessica.
Wow. I had Shopkins. I think that's what they were called. Where they were really cute little, they weren't cards, they were little, I don't know, plastic animals. And I had so many of those. I have to see if I'm actually thinking of the right thing. No, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Those are humans. Mine were not humans. I don't know what they were. I had a tub of them, but they're just like little cute chibi animals.
Was it Littlest Pet Shop?
I think
The
so.
ones with the big heads?
Yep. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm. I had those, and I would just sit there and line them up next to each other. And I didn't know I was autistic until I was 20 somehow.
I had like a giant tub of them, and I would just like, I would have to like, there was only like 5 I would actually play with, but I'd have so many, and I had to like reach down. Somehow the 5 I like would always end up at the bottom. And I would just like turn. I had like core memories of me just sitting there like turning and looking for the ones I want. That and Playmobil were really big in my house. Lots of Playmobil. And Legos, of course, but the Playmobil was mine, and the Legos were my older brother's. The separation in there. There was a pirate ship in the Playmobil, so.
My sister's thing was Legend of Zelda.
What was it?
Legend of Zelda.
Ah, yes. Right.
Yeah, I tried to play, I think it was Twilight Princess once, and I couldn't get to the first save point, and so I gave up. You had to like corral horses into a pen, and I could not figure out how to do it, and I spent hours, and I couldn't even get to the first save point, so I'm like, this isn't for me.
How old were you when that happened?
This was like high school. I was like 16.
Yeah, I can't even, no, I shouldn't even laugh at you because I suck at video games. Like, I'm just bad at video games. Like, Sam and I did a Baldur's Gate stream, and it really just hammered home how bad I am at video games. Because I need to get, like, way over leveled to do the smallest little task. And then Sam's good at video games, so her difference of her not knowing what's happening in the game but being able to do stuff, and then me knowing what's happening and still not being able to do stuff was really so much fun.
Yeah, if it takes skill or there's like a timed set to it, it's not for me. I play Animal Crossing. That's my speed.
I have like a couple out. Not a couple. I have like 70 hours in Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And then I restarted it because I stopped playing for a while and I forgot how. But so I know some story, but I'm also still really bad at it. And I'm starting it over where I should have better skills. But there's like 2 ways you can swing the sword, like quick or forceful. And I only use one of them. And even though I have so many hours of playing this game where I'm just like, nope, I can click one button to hit and that's it. Like even in like Breath of the Wild, there's attack combos. I've never done an attack combo in my life.
Mhm.
And I probably will stay that way. Not because I don't want to, just because it is out of my skill set.
Do you have the strategy of no dodging, only hitting? 'Cause
Yes.
that's what I do.
Sometimes I like run away and then run forward again. But no side to side. I have the shield up. My finger button is on the shield nonstop. I will not release that shield for anything.
I go in circles.
I can't manage the circle. That's too much movement. I can do two things, and this is it.
Please, Sam, please teach me how to play Zelda, because I
She's
am
the
not.
Zelda
I
master.
can't.
She helped me play Zelda by giving me hints when I was playing Breath of the Wild for the first time. And I'd be like, I don't know how to do this thing. And she'd give me like a riddle. It's like a troll under the bridge being like, ha. Yes, Barbarian Solutions. That's our first episode of our attempting to play Baldur's Gate.
Where you plant crops and die in mines. Exactly. Yeah. Those are the vibes.
I have the skill level of Stardew or something like that, but I have the ambition towards these big games that I'm bad at. That need skill. So, at least with Baldur's Gate, I know what spells. I don't know what spells do. I'm horrible at spells in D&D. I know what things do. I know how to play D&D. So that's my trump card, except it doesn't really work.
Well, we have like 50 minutes. Do you want to do another 30-minute sprint, or do you want to do a 45, or what?
I'm good with whatever.
I think the 30s have been working.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the timer queued up. Let me share it with you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam.
Sam coaching from behind the scenes like a pageant
Yeah,
mom.
she's in behind the curtain, being like, "Hey guys." Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Ah. Forgot to mute the hosier before I unmuted myself.
I'm sorry. So how did everyone do?
I got another page written, and I think everyone will be happy to know that I did not give my character another name, but I did name
good.
her siblings. So her brother and her sister have names now. Only one each.
Yeah. I finished the capital arc in the outline, so that was my like big to do for the Storyteller's Hearth. So I can just sleep now for the rest of the thing, right? And then I started on with the capital arc happening. I have to go into the rest of the outline and adjust it to what I just came up with because they now know each other better. I mean, a couple days better, but a couple days better than they did before. And so adjust the pacing of how they get to know each other. Started that. Ooh, I want tacos.
I know,
Well,
I'm like
it's
starving
Jessica.
right now.
So.
Shannon, how did you do?
I completed another graphic, and now I'm trying to redo this other graphic. So
Mm.
I'm gonna probably be fiddling with my Kickstarter until I go live on Tuesday.
Fair.
Yeah.
Is that your like big goal for the Storyteller's Hearth?
Well, no, my big goal was to have this done yesterday so that I could be working on my next book, but that's not happening. So
Maybe tomorrow.
Adjusted.
I'm hoping by Sunday that I'll be working on my next book.
Okay. How did you do, Kat?
I read. I spent the 30 minutes reading.
What'd you read?
This Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings fan fiction.
Fantastic. Love Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings crossover fan fiction.
Mm.
There aren't enough of them.
Shannon, I actually have a question for you. Do you know how many books are going to be in this series? Or is it just until you run out of ideas for them? Because I know they each follow a different couple.
Yeah, so the setup is a little bit different. The first 3 books are standalones. There's 4 brothers altogether. The first 3 are the first 3 brothers, and it's covering the same like 30 to 40 day period, and they cross over into each other's storylines. So it's non-linear. So they're all standalones, but they do set up parts for the big fantasy thing. And then the 4th book will be the 4th brother, which is he's the whole reason the curse happened to the 4 brothers. And that book will probably be him and the woman that put the curse on him, but that's going to kick off a 3 to 4 book sequel series, and that will have to be read in order.
Mm.
So
Gotcha.
A lot of books.
Interesting.
that's about all I know.
It's fair.
I know the ending. I always know the ending I even know like the last series that will be written in this world. I always know the beginnings and endings. So I knew the ending of this series. I knew the beginning. I know the last series I'm going to write in this world. This is the first series I'm writing in this world. So yeah. Middles though. I don't know about middles.
Mm. Oh. Oh.
I saw that.
Yawn?
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to hide it. I had a not great migraine day yesterday and got like nothing done, and I had just head pain today, and now I'm coming off the crash of that. So it's like 6:30, but I'm quiet. So I'm gonna basically eat and then go to bed after this. Not actually go to bed, just go and lay in bed and rot and like read fan fiction for a couple hours. So is the way. Exactly. Migraine hangover.
That was me last weekend. I had a killer migraine on. I think it was Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I literally was in bed for 36 of the 48 hours that make up last Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Like I was just dead. And then the entire weekend I was like getting back into things, and then on Monday my boyfriend got sick, so now he's been dealing with stuff all week. It's just been a mess.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather be actually hungover than migraine. Because at least then I don't really
I feel like the migraine thing is happening to everyone like across the globe right now. It feels like everyone's having migraine for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think just with the weather. Weather is really crazy right now because our planet's dying. And so that's affecting a lot of people.
And now we end the show.
Yeah, that's what we want. Stream. Sorry. But yeah, I'm excited to crawl into bed. I will watch the next stream on my laptop or something as I.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna make it through the whole next stream because it's now 9:30 for me. And so after this ends, I'm gonna get in my pajamas and get in bed, and I'm gonna try and read a little bit. But if I fall asleep, I'm falling asleep. Like
I have for my time, I have a 9 a.m. stream tomorrow that I'm posting on my channel.
Yeah, you're the one right before me.
Yeah. Which at least will get me out of bed and continuing the storytellers, like participating in the Storytellers Hearth. But it means I have to get out of bed before 9 a.m. and it's an ask for my life.
Well, that's the problem with being in an Airbnb. The only way I could get away from my family is in my room.
Are you guys traveling or just in an Airbnb?
We recently moved from New Mexico all the way up to Idaho.
Yeah.
So we're in the limbo state.
We spent a summer with my grandmother when we were moving from Texas and Pennsylvania, because we were supposed to move to New Jersey, but we were literally in the Jeep with all the animals packed up. My dad and I ready to drive from Texas on up, and our rental house fell through, and we were just like, well, shit, we already sold the house, we're leaving, or we're like in the process of it, so.
Yeah, we're still trying to sell our house.
Yeah. Oh, but yes.
I was 5 years old and we were moving to Miami. My dad got a job.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, we're moving to Miami. So I said to my dad, well, where does your Amy live?
That's really
yeah, we moved
good.
down to Texas. I was expecting like tumbleweeds and cowboys. But we moved outside Houston. It's not tumbleweeds and cowboys, sadly. There were cowboy hats and the boots. But not tumbleweeds. More likely to be tumbleweeds up here in LA. Because it's so dry.
Yeah.
Because the plane is dying.
Because the plane is dying. Yes.
In case anyone missed that the first time.
Yep. Sorry, my TikTok has decided to show me like edits of the national parks and like beautiful like nature things with like the background of like really sad songs or like Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas, or the one that really got me was Obi-Wan Kenobi's speech about like don't return to the temples, the Jedi are being hunted down. That with like nature, and I'm like, what is this combo? Because it's making me cry. But yeah. That's my feed. The videos are beautiful and kind of sad in case you're not getting that. Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Super Volcano?
The what?
Super Volcano?
No, I have not.
It's one of my sister's favorite movies. It's about the Yellowstone.
National Park?
I think.
Yeah, I think it's when the volcanoes go off.
And it has all the chain of volcanoes inside the caldera go off. Pretty cool.
I have a siren. One second.
Don't worry about it. So Mars, what about you?
What about just in general?
What about you?
Yeah, your favorite movie, what you might put into a story someday, you know?
I don't know. I'm really bad at picking favorites, but I'm very much into horror lately. The past couple of years, it's been my go-to genre for things. Yesterday, I went and hung out with a friend, and we watched Nosferatu, which I did watch. I saw that in theaters last month, but she didn't get to see it while it was in theaters. So we watched it, and then her thing started automatically playing Blink Twice. So we're like, we'll watch this one too, and that was actually really good. I liked that one a lot.
I haven't seen either of those, but I really want to watch Nosferatu. That's fair, Sam. I have seen the original Nosferatu because I went to film school, and they really like showing you old movies. So I want to see the modern one. Plus, I'm doing vampire research for a book I came up with. But I'm not adept in the vampire genre, like at all. So I need to learn the tropes and stuff so I can write a good book of it.
If you need recommendations, you should hit up Crystal. She is the vampire queen of this corner of AuthorTube.
I definitely
need to have it sparkle.
Twilight's already on the list, and you can blame Sam for that. I've never read Twilight. I've never watched Twilight. I have no desire to do either. And yet, I have been conscripted into reading Twilight.
I created a race of vampires in my world too, and they feed on blood, but it's not really the blood. In my world, the magic is in blood. It's in the DNA. So like humans are safe because they have no magic.
They have no DNA.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was doing like I know like general vampire stuff, and so I was incorporating that, but like the tropes of romance, vampire romance is different from like normal romance, and what's considered is different. So I want to learn the genre before I just walk in and be like, here's my take on your genre I don't know anything about.
I don't know how you feel about using AI, but there's Perplexity AI. It's kind of like a Google. And I just used it because when I was trying to figure out what I wanted for my vampires, I said, tell me everything about vampire lore across all the different myths and mythologies throughout the world. And it gives you all the sources with it.
I have mixed feelings about AI. So
I think it's kind of doing the same thing that Google's doing, because Google's kind of just pulling stuff from the internet too. But it's using the term AI, I think, to kind of play off of the, it's a buzzword. So.
I actually have a story. My first pending story is a vampire werewolf romance.
Werewolf romance?
Mm-hmm.
Nice, yeah. Between a vampire and a werewolf, or they're both in the nice?
That's fun.
So it's like enemies to lovers.
The originals.
It's spicy, all kinds of stuff.
You should watch the originals. Give you some vampire lore there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I took a class in college all about monsters, and the section on vampires was literally, we just were talking about sex for like 2 weeks on end, because that's all vampires are about when you really get into it. Like, we read Dracula, and everyone's just like, oh my god, why is this so sexual? My teacher's like, that's the point.
Well, mine, I make it where, like, if they feed long enough off of their victim, the victim will have an orgasm. And it's a way to keep the prey coming back to them. So I build a lot of that lore in there. That's the sexual part. So
yeah, I did a Let's Talk, like a stream with Sam years ago about vampires. And so my vampire knowledge comes from that, supernatural, and like existing in modern society. Because like with people, like just normal general vampire knowledge, but not in-depth vampire knowledge. So I do want to read, but I just it's a different, I feel like I've shifted my brain into a different gear for it. Yeah, but that works for I came up with the vampire story, so I'm like, I need vampire-esque tropes, but I'm like,
and Irish mythology has a lot of a lot of vampire origin stories. So I think there's a lot of stories out there that get it from the Irish myths. They get some of those like tropes and stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of different cultures have their own take on vampires, and I think that's really cool. Like, even on wildly different parts of the globe, came up with an idea that is now known as vampire adjacent, but with no connection between each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, would you like to do your outros?
Sure.
Let's see if I can do better than my intro. So my name is Mars. I write under the name MG Ellison. I have books that I still have not taken off my bookshelf, so you just got to from a distance.
Over there.
But they are new adult dark academia mysteries if you want to check them out. I have my YouTube channel, Somberhoney Books, where I post content about reading, writing, and other shenanigans, and I also stream every Sunday night my time, obviously. If you want to come hang out and have some chill productivity. One thing I forgot to mention in my intro is I'm hosting a readathon next month, inspired by Critical Role, because it's their 10th anniversary, and they're releasing a short story collection, so I've used that short story collection to inspire prompts, and it's going to be a whole fun time if anyone's interested. So that's
awesome.
All the fun stuff I've got going on.
I'm literally watching. I just finished catching up on rewatching season 2 of Vox Machina, so I'm queued up to watch season 3. And I know I mentioned fanfic earlier, but I think I might be doing that instead. I'm CB Ferrenz, queer fantasy writer and novelist and screenwriter. On my channel, I regularly do. Sorry, my brain is so blanking out right now. I was like, ooh, sapphic vampires. Productivity live stream sprints with Samantha El Nasser. Sam, on Wednesdays, we call it Whip Wednesdays. We alternate between our channels. This upcoming week, it will be on my channel. And we also do Let's Talkin' About Books. We are right about to read the final book, not including the extras, which is a whole other book, of the Scumvillain Self-Saving System, which is my favorite novel. And you can join us for that soon. Forgot the date.
And I'm Shannon. I'm a fantasy romance author. My next Kickstarter is about to kick off, and I can read the first 2 sentences here. That's part of my Kickstarter. To save him, she was forced to marry him. To save herself, she was forced to betray him. So, very good. And it is a dragon mermaid romance, although it's not really monster romance, but it's just the interspecies romance. But yeah, and that's launching on Tuesday. Go follow me. if you can't, support me, if you follow me, that's going to help me a whole lot in the algorithm.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I am Kat. I am the author of young adult fantasy, though I am branching out into paranormal romance and, the psychological thriller, and even doing screenplays. So I am very eclectic in my tastes. Everyone's links are in the description below, so please check them out. And the playlist is also linked below, so you can go to the next video.
Thanks for having us
All right.
Yeah, that was awesome.
No problem. Thank you.
Good job when you're hosting.
Thank you. All right. I hope y'all have a wonderful night.
You too.
Bye.